Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and in this video I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough of these guys. These are the new NPCs inside of Ark, and they are the Thralls, and they have a few basic different modes that you want to know, and some really neat things that they actually do. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the basics and kind of really, everything that you could need to know to do some pretty neat stuff with these Thralls. So let's go ahead and get started. So there are a bunch of different types of Thralls. We have that one there, the Scattershot, the Herald, the Sniper, Marauder, and then you also have the Archer as well. Now, they have some pretty neat functions, including, you can see this right here. I can click follow. Thank you. And they will kind of serve like a normal dino in that regard, where they will follow you and kind of move with you. Now, the thing that makes them a lot better is these guys have a couple of things that you're going to want to be aware of. So they have special modes, kind of like Survivor mode, right? There is a follow mode, there is a turret mode, there is a logistics mode, and then there is a harvest mode. Turret mode is really effective. Now, the best things that you can use for the turret mode, however, are the ones that have range. Now, for example, if I go ahead and spawn in a dodo that just happens to, walk by here, they will automatically begin to try and attack it, and your Thrall Archer, including my Thrall Deadeye over there, will start to snipe it. Now, they have a pretty good defensive barrier, and as long as they're inside of that turret mode, they do a really good job of kind of putting their weapons away and getting their weapons out willingly. Now, that's kind of the basics of turret mode. Something spawns in, they go try and kill it, which is obviously pretty unique. Now, if they can pull out their weapon on the back of a dinosaur, they will also do that, which is really cool, obviously. So you can kind of combine it, so you can set my Therizinosaur to like a neutral or an aggressive, and I can also have a Thrall riding it on its back with the ability to shoot off of it as well. So it's a very useful thing. So that is turret mode in a nutshell. They will all use whatever weapon class they are. Marauders will break out a spear of some variety. Scattershots will break out a shotgun. The Heralds will break out a flamethrower. The Archers will break out I think it's technically a tech bow, and then the Deadeyes will break out a sniper rifle. Now, those are the different types of Thralls. So really neat, obviously. There's a few other types, but this is just the basics. So that is the first mode. The second mode is harvest mode. Now, you will notice I had one running around over here. This is the guy that harvest mode. So what you can do is you can set them into harvest mode, and then if you look inside their inventory, whatever you tell them to collect is the resource that they try and collect. So if I right click on the stone and then add as input, it'll tell you this Thrall that he wants to gather that stuff. Now, where it becomes incredibly useful is he'll basically collect all this stuff, and then wherever he is nearby, so this is going to be my resources bay, he will put it inside of whatever resource you have available. Now, if I want him to gather stone, I probably want to have a stone input. So I would take my stone, and then I would click this bottom right button where it's enable automated deposit, and it'll essentially allow that Thrall to wherever he is, path over to this, and then put the stone inside of it. Now, what you do need to be aware of is the Thrall is going to pick up whatever else it is available with that. So because he's picking up stone, he's also picking up sand. So he will eventually become encumbered and not be able to pick stuff up. So just be aware of that. So you want to have another access point for him to drop off anything else that might be picked up. So if for example, if I set him to pick up wood, he'll go hit trees, but he's also going to pick up thatch. So just be aware of that. And that's pretty much the harvest mode. They can harvest anything. You just have to put whatever it is in their inventory, and then click whatever button you want, right? Like that. So obsidian, and you'll right click add as input. And that'll mean that those guys are now, whenever they are in that mode, go and gather that resource. They will also automatically put it in whatever box you have available. And as long as you have the enable automated deposit, you will basically be able to drop off whatever resource you want over there. So in order to do that in a non-dedicated storage, you would have add as input, and then you can just say one stack or whatever it is, and then you'll see that it'll constantly keep that in there. So that is that. Now, the next mode that you can go to is logistics mode. Now, logistics mode essentially allows your Thralls to kind of like organize your base and rearrange things however you see fit. In order to truly make this something that's useful, you've essentially got to have a lineup of this is where I want my stone, this is where I want my wood, this is where I want my thatch, blah, 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 blah. And then you could have a drop vault over here, and this Thrall, that now is in logistics mode, will automatically start cleaning up your base to your specifications of where you want things. Now, dedicated storage makes this really, really useful because you can say, hey, I want this to be I'll put all my stone in here, and your Thrall will automatically organize everything for you when they are in logistics. Very similar to Survivor Mate, and it's kind of the basics of that is pretty self-explanatory. So those are your 3 basic modes. The best turret modes, in my opinion, are the Archer, the Deadeye, and the Shotgun. The Flamethrower, not so hot, but it can be. Now, that's the basics. Here's where we get a lot more complex. If you hold E on a Thrall instead of setting them to a mode, you can then control the Thrall. Now, the things that you need to be aware of, they are much faster than you, so they will be able to run you down should you actually ever try and do anything like that. And they have a guaranteed weapon of whatever class they are. So because this is the Archer class Thrall, it'll basically have a weapon that it'll shoot, aka a bow. Now the bow, the really cool thing, unlimited ammo. They never run out of ammo, so that's pretty neat. And you'll see that I've taken him over. Your character still stays in place, and your character can still take damage. You can see that right there. So just be aware your player can take damage. While you leave it away, but you are basically in full control of this Thrall. He is able to actually pick up and do anything that you would be able to normally do as a character. The only major difference that this Thrall doesn't have the ability to do is it doesn't have the ability to do an input command, aka meaning he can't craft. He can't craft anything, boss fights, all of that stuff. But he can use whatever you could use for your resource. So if I wanted to use this Thrall to blow up things with C4, it's going to make PvP very, very, very different. You can do that. You can essentially have extra players if you want to think of it that way. I can use this guy in a million different ways, and it doesn't count as the player. So players only turrets are going to be interesting. But yeah, so these are Thralls are going to be, I don't even know how to do. There's going to be a lot of really cool uses of PvP. But so they have an increased speed, they have increased armor, and you can kind of see the differences between their armor. So the one that I have right now is increased armor. The Marauders, these guys are your heavily armored, very hard to take down monsters, essentially. They have a lot of health, they have a lot of melee damage, and they aren't something you want to mess with. So that's kind of the basics of this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hold R if you want to leave, and then go back to controlling your character. It doesn't matter how far away you are. Could be the entire map. So you can literally scout with a Thrall and then return to your character. And the cool thing is it'll maintain whatever you have in their inventory as their hotbar. So I don't have any C4 in my hotbar, right? Notice how this guy's maintained the inventory that I wanted to set for him. So, aka, he's got C4 and a rocket launcher down there. This could be my raiding Thrall. I can move much faster than a normal, and yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. So that's that one. Now let's talk about some of the inherent things that you're going to want to know about. So their armor on their body naturally represents how much reduced damage they are going to take as well. The Marauders, because they have heavier armor, are going to take less damage, and then the shirtless flamethrower, the Herald, is going to take a little bit more damage, but it's pretty cool because he's got a flamethrower, obviously. So this is going to be a super fun one. In order to use it, you just got to break out the actual #1 command for me, and it'll let you use their special weapon. Their special weapon does do increased damage, and it has a, there are usually special effects and things like that. It's a unique, so it's not just your normal weapon. It does a ton of damage, and it will have a burn effect for this guy as well. And notice how I'll go down to 0 just to show you. Come on now, please. 0%. There it goes. And you will automatically reload unlimited. So we take that for sure. Now, the cool thing is, let's go ahead. Come on. Thank you. So sometimes it's a little bit glitchy, but it's still pretty neat. So you can actually level up your Thralls, which is a really cool thing, just like you would a dinosaur. They start with some pretty intense stats, and you can kind of choose to level it where you want. I just leveled it, this one, into pure health on a solo player, so they obviously have stupid health, but on you could probably get them 10, 15,000 health, I think. So just be aware of that. And I think that melee damage does not scale, unfortunately, with the ranged attacks, just like your player wouldn't. But it does, however, scale with the people that hit things, so that your Marauders. Now, Thrall scatter shots are going to be super cool too, because these guys have a literal shotgun. Now, it looks, I mean, it functions the exact same as your player shotgun would. However, it is a Thrall weapon, so it's like slightly different in that regard. So, I'm going to go and show you the damage of the shotgun on this guy, just so you can kind of see it. Come on, color. And boom. Still does a significant chunk of damage, and I haven't leveled this Thrall at all. So you can access it. I mean, I guess I put it in the health for the most part. But, so the ranged weapons do not increase, but there's gonna be some really unique things that people come up with, both for rating and everything. So, kind of neat. Now, that's kind of the basics of the different types of Thralls, what they do, things along those lines. There are a few more things that you can do, however. You can actually set these creatures to ride dinosaurs. Now, I can kick them off by essentially hitting E on it, but it'll maintain the connection of a creature. So if you want a base defense and you want your dinosaurs to be a little bit smarter, use the AI of the actual Thralls. They will automatically try and maintain being on top of the creature that you left them on, to see how he goes back over and rides it. It's a really unique thing. In order to activate this ability, what you'll have to do is you'll have to clear assigned dino or add an assigned dino. I'm going to go ahead and clear the one off this guy, and I'm going to go ahead and control assign to dino, and because this Therizino is available, go ahead and hit assign to the creature. Now, he will try and maintain, to the best of his ability, to be on the back of a Therizinosaur. So, you can essentially assign him to this, and then you can still leave your Therizinosaur on aggressive, and if it's a ranged one, and you can shoot off the back, your Thralls will quite literally shoot and do the damage of the creature and increase the AI. Super, super useful thing. So that's kind of the basics of that. Now, you can also set them to an ordering group. Might be very useful late game. You can literally add them to a group or add creature to a group, and all the way through 10. This is going to be useful because if you have an army and you want the army to push a whole bunch of stegos and things like that, you can move them forwards and use the AI instead of just creature logic in order to actually move things forward. They do attack faster with the tames as well. So a normal wild tame, it's just going to swing when it swings, just like a wild creature would. However, this swings basically at max speed. So if I have a Thrall and I have it turned on to attack on aggressive, it's going to swing the Therizinosaur as if you were riding it and swing as much as it can. So it's going to off-put a lot more damage. So that is the Thrall on the top of the back there. Now, some other things, you can also track them so you know where they are, and you can literally go cross map. So if you had, I don't know, a dragon egg that you wanted to go get and you didn't feel like losing your player or whatever's on your character, go ahead and have your local Thrall available, and they would be able to do that for you. You can also change their harvest settings to disable the actual harvest collection of resources, but they do function very similar to a dinosaur. Now, let's talk about some other cool things that I wanted to show you real quick. So if you have anything that you want to put in this thing, it becomes a storage device. They don't have all that much weight for a lot of these, so just be aware of that. They cannot wear armor, but you can put a costume on them. And you can give them different types of weapons. You can give them, if you have a better sniper rifle in your opinion, you can give them a better sniper rifle and ammo and all that stuff. They will have their one slot weapon. So the scatter shot, for example, his one slot weapon will always have infinite ammo. So he will always be able to use this one for whatever I feel like using it for, right? Just tracking info. You can track this and see where you're at. But I can also use his inventory and toss some of those and toss some of those. And then it literally just becomes your character. Oop. As you can see like that. It just becomes your character extended. But it's like a scout. So you don't lose your actual character, you lose the Thrall. Now, things that I can see being really overpowered with this is people are going to be able to raid solo much easier because you're going to be able to bring a couple of Thrall. And they can literally use whatever you would use, and you can maybe mesh with them and stuff like that. But I think that hopefully they'll figure some of this kind of stuff out. It's going to definitely make riding creatures a lot more effective because you are able to have a faster attack rate and lots of small little things like that. But hopefully this quick little guide kind of shows you everything that you need to know about Thralls. And yeah, I did not include all the Thralls. There are other Thralls other than the ones I have here because I haven't been able to get them all because there's a glitch in the game right now. It's kind of where we're at. So hopefully this video helps. If you don't mind, smash that like button. Leave a comment below for the algorithm. Consider subbing to the channel.